the mark of the beast. Today we are going to talk about the beast and about its mark, and this obviously mysterious number 666. To imagine what will happen at the end of the history of our world, we should recall the concept of historic recurrence. Historic recurrence is the repetition of similar events in history. Many scholars analyze different historical events and, to their surprise, discovered striking repetitions and similarities. Indeed, there are many amazingly similar events in history. Furthermore, it is a predicted thing which we find in the Bible. The Christianity has many prophecies about the last days, and by the way, Yeshua himself predicted this last persecution. So we begin with terrible persecutions when Christianity just appeared, and then we will have this terrible persecution before the second coming, even more terrible than anything in the history. When Christianity appeared in the Roman Empire, it was against the Greco-Roman religion. Persecutions were fueled by religious enmity and enforced by the political power. So we have two important components: religious enmity and the political power which supported this enmity. It was the emperor. Thus, two components started the death machine of Rome: pagan religion and unprecedented political support for this religion. And something similar likely will be repeated at the very end. The book of Revelation tells us, Revelation chapter 13, verse 15. The second beast was permitted to give life to the image of the first beast, so that the image of the beast could even speak and cause all who would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. At the very end, some historical events will be repeated. There will be a false religion, a sort of resurrected medieval papacy, and some power that will impose this religion. Very possible that it will be the United States. We talked about that already. I would like to emphasize that the contemporary Catholic Church is not the false religion of the last days. The spirit of the papacy and the medieval church, which killed its opponents and tortured heretics, will be resurrected. It is not the contemporary United States of America that will impose this false religion. It is a transformed and changed political system that will reject democracy and religious liberty. So there are some transformations in the world which are expected first. In other words, the phenomenon of historic recurrence will be obvious at the end of the time, during those last days. I'm sure the majority of people who live in the Western world have heard about the mark of the beast. Let us read this prophecy. We're still in chapter 13, and this is verse 16. He also causes all, the small and the great, the rich and the poor, the free and the slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or upon their forehead. What is this prophecy about? It is about some mark that will be mandatory. It will be necessary to demonstrate allegiance to the imposed order. The mark is placed on the right hand or on the forehead. Some people believe that this means that there will be people who accept this mark just mechanically, or on the right hand, or being ideologically in agreement with the imposed religion, or on the forehead. This interpretation is nice. However, there is a better interpretation whose roots belong to the Bible. every religious Jew prays the so-called Shma Prayer, a prayer whose text is found in the book of Deuteronomy. Here is the prayer. Deuteronomy chapter 6 verses 4 and 5. Hear Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love Adonai your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength. To love the Lord or Adonai is the most important commandment. These words should be on the hand and on the forehead. The text reads further. Bind them as a sign on your hand. They are to be as frontlets between your eyes. As you can see, the false religious system of the last days will have its own Shema. Instead of loving God, as we just read in the book of Deuteronomy, it will impose demonic worship, and instead of affixing the words of the Deuteronomy on the hand or the forehead, it will impose its own mark on the hand or the forehead. And no one can buy or sell unless he has the mark, either the name of the beast or the number of his name. How can this prophecy be fulfilled? It can be some technological solution, for example, an implant, like an implanted microchip. It can be some biometric feature. It can be something else. We do not know. But when we analyze the number of the beast, we will get a hint what it could be. Let us read verse 18. Here it is. Here is wisdom. Let the one who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is a number of a man, and his number is 666. The mark of the beast or the number of his name are related. The number is 666, and it is a human number. In the biblical context, humans opposed God when Adam and Eve took the forbidden fruit. Humans are contrasted with God when they sinned before the flood. Humans are imperfect, whereas God is completely perfect. Humans represent rebelled creation, whereas God is the creator. This creator marked his creation when it was finished, and it was done with a special mark. What is this? Let's read one interesting text. Actually, in fact, two interesting texts. This is Genesis chapter 2 verses 2 and 3. And on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made. Let us analyze this text. When you look carefully, you will see that we have something special in these two verses. God finished creating the heavens and the earth and rested. The result is a repetition of 7 3 times. You see this on the screen. Shabbat is sanctified and blessed. Shabbat is given by God, and according to the text of the Torah, it contains 3 numbers of 7. It is a seal of God's creation, not just theologically, but this is in the text. What do I mean theologically? Theologically, when you make some conclusions, But we just read the text and we see 777. God rested, Yishbot in Hebrew. This word is a relative word of Shabbat. It is amazing to observe that the phrase the seventh day is repeated 3 times in this text. According to the text of Revelation, there will be another mark, the mark 666. We were able to see that Satan mimics God, and now we deal with one more forgery. God's number is 777, and it is found in the story of Shabbat. And now it's distorted and presented as 666, even though Christians traditionally keep Sunday as the day of worship. The seventh day, or Shabbat, bears the perfect number 777. And it is very possible that the mark of the beast will be represented by the wrong day of worship, which will become mandatory. Shabbat is the biblical day, whereas any other day is never mentioned in the Bible. Shabbat is the mark or the seal of God, and it bears the number 777. The day of worship may seem to be insignificant, but it is God who established this day. God sanctified this day and blessed this day, and then we have to be very careful with it. If Shabbat is described with 3 numbers of 7, then we should be very attentive and careful, keeping it holy.